Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and a butterfly came out.
I think a magician doesn't need to advertise himself or herself because they will do boom and they become popular. They are magicians, you know?
If that's how that happens, I don't know. I guess it is. Welcome to the Comedians in Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Lidia Tomaeva. Lidia, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, first of all, thank you for having me, Chris.
Absolutely.
Um, I'm Lidia Tomaeva, as you said. I'm from the country of Georgia. When I say I'm from Georgia, people are like, "Oh, America." No, the country Georgia.
No,
I
it's
live in
definitely, I mean,
Police.
no, I was just going to say a lot of educated people know that, but a lot of uneducated people don't know that. And you're correct. They will assume the state of Georgia. So I think
Yeah,
I hear
sometimes
a lot
they
of news. I hear a lot of news about Georgia. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting things going on. I guess we could keep it non-political, but do you want to share?
Yeah, okay, let's first say who I am, and then we can dip
Absolutely.
into it. I'm a comedy screenwriter. I work at TV and theater, but I also work for feature and short movies. I have written and directed few short movies, and one announcement I want to say that I have a comedy feature movie that I want to produce, and I'm looking for a producer. And if there is anyone who wants to collaborate, please feel free to contact me or on LinkedIn or on Instagram.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing the podcast because I'm also putting together projects. So when you say producer, what are the tasks that you expect of this person?
I just know how to write and how to direct, but I don't know what comes next, I'm
Okay.
really bad at like gaining financial aid.
Hmm.
I don't
The
know
whole
how to do that. I don't know the ways to whom to refer, even and I'm sure I'm not good at pitching. So I need someone to, help me with that.
Well, Lydia, you're in luck. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast. This is an entire business model from the ground up. So that's kind of what's going on here right now is to actually make the business happen. So that's how I'm like a jack of all trades. I'm trying to make exactly what you're talking about happen at every level. So so that's we have the same goal in common. So you're ready to get started?
I hope so.
All right. Okay. Listen, to my regular listeners, I know you don't like when at the beginning of these conversations I ask you to subscribe. None of us like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like it being in here. But it's frustrating. You know what else is frustrating? It's also frustrating when I look in the back end of the YouTube channel and I see that 56% of you that watch frequently haven't yet subscribed. And I know this because I see it in the comments section. You say things like, I didn't know I didn't subscribe. And that's actually what fuels the show. Basically, it's like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask all the time, because it enables us to build and build and build, and we're going for the long term here. Hit the subscribe button, and we'll continue to build this show for you. That's my promise. Thank you to all you guys that do subscribe. It means the world to me. So the whole point of the
So,
podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. So Lydia, would you agree that you start as a comic and evolve into a comedian?
okay, so I think it might be a bit complicated because okay, you can be a comic and then become a comedian, but it's not always the case because when you're a comedian, you have to write your jokes, put them into structure, you have to know some rules, etc. Um, so that's why not every comic has potential to become a comedian. You have to have something more, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, empathy and patience, and there are too many things that you have to have in order to
Okay.
become a comedian.
Interesting. So you're saying that a comic can actually be successful and lack empathy and what was the other one? So I'm just
Um,
curious, how does that happen? How can you be
patience.
funny but lack empathy? I guess you can. I guess you can kind of be a psychopath. Total narcissistic. Yeah, I guess that does work. I could see how we laugh at narcissists sometimes. They can be quite funny. But you're right. I would agree with you. They not so good at comedian style, or maybe not. I don't
You
know.
know
Maybe
what I
that's.
mean?
I have an
When you are a
idea.
comedian,
Uh-huh.
you were saying something like,
No. Go ahead. We have a delay, but just go ahead.
so, in empathy, I mean, when you are a comedian, you write, right? So, when you are comic, you make jokes in your bubble with your friends or family members in your class. So you just make, let's say, your own jokes. But when you're comedian or comedy writer, sometimes you have to write or perform about the jokes that are not about yourself. Especially when you are a comedy film writer, you don't always write things that happen to you, but you create a character, and you have to have this like power of imagination, that you have to, think, uh, come up with the ideas that you've never faced with, like boundaries or barriers that you never faced with.
No, I could totally see. Yeah, and so I'm actually using the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, to address this because I could see it being an almost impossible task because you're trying to get into the mind, empathetically, emotionally of a person that you may or may not know very well. You maybe know their character, and then be funny on
Yeah,
top of that and make it look original, right? So it seems like a
yeah.
almost impossible task, right? So how do you do it, right? That's the thing. Okay. So let me put it in some. Let's throw it with the first question, which is about the role of persona in comedy. So how much of the comedian's voice is a character versus the real self?
Hmm. Um, what I like is that when you are a performer, like for example, a stand-upper, if you, sorry, right, because that I'm a writer, I'm always thinking about writing, but we are talking about stand-uppers and
Well,
performance.
but
So,
have you done stand up yourself?
oh, I did it once. It was an interesting experience, but I
Oh,
don't really like standing in front of the audience. Even now, I'm nervous because it's not my cup of tea. I prefer to sit down on my own, with no one around, and write. Take my
Sure,
time when no one
absolutely.
looks at me.
So when no one looks at you, so now you need to write when people are watching, right? So you can have like a video blog where people are just watching you write, and you can possibly get paid for that. But anyway, so does authenticity matter, or is illusion part of the magic?
No, I think authenticity matters, and you become funnier when you're authentic. There is this one Georgian famous stand-upper. His style is to laugh at people, and he's not making jokes about himself. Mostly he laughs at others, he mocks others.
Mhm.
And personally, I don't like it because you don't have right to laugh at someone. I mean, not um you don't have to take this much time to make fun of someone, but still he's really successful and famous here. So I think
Okay.
if it's funnier and more interesting, and people can feel if you are yourself or if you're faking it, you
Right.
know?
No, absolutely. But now, so that kind of brings us to the next question about
Okay.
what you're referring to that comedian doing. So it's about punching up versus punching down. So where does a comic versus comedian stand on this? So let me put in some historical context. Did a jealous
Mhm.
medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
Okay, so um I believe when you make a joke, if it's punching up or punching down, there is always a message goal, what you want to achieve. Most of the comedians, as I noticed, they refer to punching up because they want to provoke those who are in power to change conditions or to change even themselves. And some comedians are using punching down just to remind us that those vulnerable people and vulnerable situation exists. And it's like, hey, people, look here, there's a problem. So they kind of like highlight and make us look to that side, you know?
Mm.
So
Okay.
it's good if you can understand why people are doing this. What's the message behind it, you know?
Right, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's usually the question when you recognize someone's punching up, well, punching down usually is like, why are they doing this? Is it even funny? Should I laugh? You know, what are they doing? They're picking on people. But, you know, sometimes it is funny, like you were speaking of that one guy. So, let's go with the cultural translation of comedy. So, how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
Yeah. Um, you know, jokes are a specific thing. Of course, they can be like international. I checked your podcast and many people talked about Mr. Bean, and I can also highlight him. Um, you know, if it's pantomime comedy, then like as Mr. Bean or others, or Charlie Chaplin even, then okay, it can be international and understandable for everyone. But when it's like um, verbal jokes sometimes are more cultural. You don't, you won't get my joke if my joke is about my own traditions, about let's say Georgia stereotypes. You don't know our stereotypes, you don't know our like specific regions, right? So this complicates the joke. You know, if it's very like cultural, traditional, stereotypical, as I said already, or if it's about some social situation or our political situation, for example, it might not be funny for you as you're not familiar with my culture, my country. You know, if you come and visit Georgia then and leave for a while, then you can somehow, you know, time by time get the like subcontext of the joke. And yeah.
Well, absolutely. So you did refer to Mr. Bean and you said pantomime, is that correct? Is did I miss something or is he was he doing that? I don't recall too much Mr. Bean, but was he actually doing physical comedy without speaking?
Yeah, so this is basically pantomime, that you don't speak, but you show, you speak with your body language. So Mr. Bean is a
Right.
pantomime actor.
He really he did it without speaking or didn't he always speak? I'm I guess I don't recognize when that happened.
He didn't. I mean, there was some monologues or dialogues. He was kind of mumbling.
Ah, I see.
So let's say maybe 90 or 95% was pantomime.
Okay. Because you
Is
actually couldn't understand what
pantomime.
because what he's saying didn't actually mean anything. It was just sounds that maybe were funny, but the words were not coherent. Is that how you understand it?
Yeah.
I need to research Mr. Bean more. This is something I need to really focus on. Now I have a reason to do it. Okay. Definitely. All right. So, right? So is truth the meaning of facts?
Hmm. Um, okay, let me just
It's supposed to be difficult.
um yeah, let's, you know, some facts can seem different depending on how look at the facts. You know, this picture, there are two people sitting opposite of each other. They look at the same spot.
Hmm.
One says 9 and the other one says 6.
Hmm.
Both of them are right and both of them are wrong, you know? So what I'm trying to say that everyone has their rights and their truths. So it depends on the perspective, where how you're looking and where you're standing while looking at the fact. You know what I does it make sense?
Oh, 100%. I made this question explicitly complicated. So the image that you're talking about is like as if the people on the page know what they are, but really they don't, and you're looking at a two-dimensional image. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's almost an impossible question to answer, but the idea is that there are three things. That's why I'm adding it. There's truth, there's meaning, and there's facts. And they are three different things because the words are different, right? So how can they
yeah.
combine? So I know I'm trying to make it difficult. So would you say that comics are more universal while comedians are more culturally specific?
No, no, not at all. No, I
So,
said this before. Yeah,
uh-huh. Go ahead. Yeah.
I strongly believe that comics can't be universal. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Comics,
That's why I'm asking. Well, but the comedian can be. So what is it? Why is the comic not able to be universal?
because okay, no offense to to comic people, but can make they used to make people laugh who are like around them, but
I see.
comedians are trained to make bigger audience laugh, audience that they're not familiar with. And comedians are this, they practice, they write, they perform, and they can become more universal. And in this uh era, like in this digital era, comedians become more and more universal as we can um, get knowledge um, from all over the world, like in just a second. And what we see, what we read, right? So this,
Mhm.
like, how to say in English, this like, how to say, um like, opens our mind wider and extends our imagination. um and we have, I mean, comedians have more international audiences, so they have to become universal in order to earn more more money, also to become more popular, etc.
I'll go with
Yeah.
that one. All right, Lydia, very important question. Advertising and self-promotion. Who advertises themselves more? The comic, the comedian, or the magician? You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast and get the message out today. See you soon.
Hmm. I think a magician doesn't need to advertise himself or herself, because they will do boom and they become popular. They are magicians.
If that's how that happens, I don't know. I guess it is.
Yeah. Comics, they probably don't need to promote themselves because, as I said maybe three or four times, that they have their own bubble. They
Right.
don't need to be known by a lot of people. But comedians, they truly need, as we talked about this digital era, they need to promote themselves because if you're a comedian in Sweden and you're making your audition, the performance, how can I come and see you if I don't see your like advertisement, or
Hmm.
so it's very important to survive for them, to
Okay.
be known. Yeah.
All right. So, how about censorship and offense? So, who survives better in a cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Who survives?
Yep, in a cancel culture environment.
Okay, I think if we answer on this question directly, I think everyone can can survive. It depends on the country you're from. If you're from North Korea, that you can't survive, I'm so sorry. but but if you're from, I don't know, more democratic country, even though I know, okay, if answer to this question seriously, even though in the countries that are known for their like more developed democracy, some people get caught or even killed, or their shows shut down just because
Mhm.
they made certain jokes. And you had this case in US few weeks ago.
You're talking about Charlie
Yeah,
Kirk?
that, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the guy that made a joke about, yeah. But
Well,
it's
are we talking
too,
about, well, Charlie, it wasn't a joke. I mean, he's just like, he was, political commentary. Are we talking about the same person? He got,
yeah,
shot, even though he's wearing a
yeah,
bulletproof
yeah,
vest and got hit in the neck?
yeah. I'm talking. I'm really bad with names. Jimmy, that his show
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel, right? Yeah,
Right, because he commented on Charlie Kirk. Got it. Yeah.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
made a joke. But it's really interesting that Georgia is a tiny country, and our democracy probably is not that developed. But still, I mean, comics and comedians make any jokes about politics. They post on Facebook. We have this show which exists since 2005, so 20 years. They always were against the government. Our government has changed. They were always making some jokes against government. They still exist. I work with them, by the way, and they never got shut down because of the censorship, etc. So we survived.
Well,
So it depends on
I'm
the.
assuming the jokes were funny. It wasn't just criticism. Is that correct?
It's satire, and it's not really funny.
Oh,
It's more.
okay.
I
Well,
mean, okay, if you take it seriously, then it might not be funny. But if you are okay with political jokes, you can laugh. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes some people laugh at poverty, uh, but people take it to like painful, or let's say.
No, for sure. I mean, but it's also, yeah, that one's a touchy one because everyone can fall into poverty, and so you have this feeling about it. So that's an interesting one. Okay, Lydia, are you ready to enter the multiverse?
Sorry, I didn't get the
Are
question.
are you ready to enter the multiverse?
Oh, multiverse.
Are you ready? We're about to go
Yeah.
into the multiverse. Okay, let's go. All right. Board game Zoomcast, play versus performance. If comedy were a board game Zoomcast, are you competing as the colorist, adding tone, mood, and shading, or the Foley artist, building punchlines with soundscapes and timing?
Hmm. Um, I think, okay. If you're a professional comedian, then
Mhm.
I think you have to be both because mood is very important, timing is very important, tone is very important, everything is important that you mentioned. So even if you have a really good joke, but if you say it at the funeral, it doesn't work. I mean, it depends on where you say, how you say. I have this friend, he's really, really funny, but he says jokes in a way that, I mean, you have to know him to understand because his voice tone is like, when you are reading boring book, you have this monotone voice tone.
Sure.
So that tone also matters, timing matters. So that's why you're cooler if you can be both.
I gotcha. So, okay, I could see how that works. All right. So, here in the Comedians and Elevators podcast, we have a tradition where the previous guest asks a question for the next guest. And the previous guest was Dodd Seitz. And his question for you, Lydia, is can a comedian still be good if they make you feel sad in the end?
Yes, definitely yes.
Okay.
Um,
Uh,
I I believe that you make jokes in order to make people think about things, especially if it's a movie.
right.
Movies that are only for laughing, ha ha ha. Okay, it's also important and valuable, but if you make someone think, and when we get sad, when we feel something, and when we uh okay, I remembered something and just this movie, Intouchables, 1+1, this French comedy movie, it's really, really good. It's
Okay.
so funny, but also sad at the same time. And that's why it's my favorite that this writer and director makes audience think. That's why we become sad. That it touches our hearts.
I could see that working
Yeah,
in the French style because a lot of times their cinema ends with no ending, right? It's like you don't know how it ends, right? And that you automatically like, well, it could be sad, but I also don't know what actually is going to happen next, right? Is this one of those movies?
yeah,
Okay. Last
yeah.
question. Legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comics tight five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
Um, okay, I will answer this way. There are anecdotes that we know, but we don't know who said or who wrote those anecdotes.
Right?
So comics are not remembered that much, but their jokes might be remembered. And sometimes comedians' style or like face could be
Mm-hmm.
remembered, but not their jokes. I don't know which one is more important. Probably like it's better if your joke is remembered than I mean your face or name and surname.
Interesting. Well, you're the first person to actually answer the question how I imagined it when I wrote it. So, or well, when I asked it. So, and actually, ChatGPT came up with this question. So just to be in context, like I didn't come up with the question, ChatGPT did.
Okay.
So, Lydia, where can everybody find you online?
They can find me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. They just have to write my full name, Lidia Tomaeva, and they can find me easily. Or maybe they should add screenwriter as well, and they will see this uh, this cute face. I'm joking.
Yep.
I always joke.
You-
Sometimes I
is
make
that a
stupid jokes.
headband? Is that a traditional headband I see on your image? On your LinkedIn image? It's a
Ah,
tradition. You wear,
uh,
huh?
no, it's not. It's just a handmade.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
bought
looks
it.
good. Well, Lydia, thank you
Yeah.
so much for being my guest. And for everyone, please like and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye.